Welcome back to another episode of Nitty Gritty Sports Talk. I'm your host tonight, Keith PJ. And of course, I got Keys with me.
What's going on? How y'all feeling out there?
Nick, what's going on?
What's going on? Happy Friday.
And of course, we're going to hold it down for our brother Sco in his absence today.
Yes, sir.
It's Divisional Weekend, y'all.
Time to get lit, baby.
Yeah.
At the top is just us.
Yeah,
where the AFC North teams at? I've been looking for them.
Yeah, they know where to be found. Let's get straight to it, though. The Texans enter Baltimore as 9.5-point underdogs this weekend. This will be the second meeting this year between the teams. Baltimore won week 1, 25-9. What's the keys to this game and getting out with a victory and hosting the AFC title game next Sunday?
Oh, man.
It's not going to be easy. I mean, it ain't going to be no cakewalk. They proven to be, watching over the course of the season, watching the film, this week. They well coached. They solid defensively. They knock on, the mistakes they've been making early in the season, maybe weeks 1 through 5, with a rookie coach, rookie QB. They no longer making those mistakes going down the stretch. The main key is you got to get pressure on Stroud. You can't let him sit back there and eat you alive. I think the week 1, that was a long time ago, but the Ravens, week 1, they did a good job getting pressure on week 1. You can see last week the Browns, Myles Garrett was ineffective. I don't think they sacked C.J. Stroud last week, and you saw what happened to him. So that's my main key. You have to get pressure. You got to make him uncomfortable. Like I said, playing at home, we all know is way different than playing on the road. And then the weather conditions, here, snowing all night. It's gonna be freezing cold tomorrow with the wind chills. You gotta get after him, man. That's really what I'm looking forward to. You have to put pressure on him. You have to get him off his spot. He's still a rookie quarterback. Granted, he's already won a playoff game. He's still a rookie quarterback coming on his role for his first playoff game. It should be different, regardless of the weather. The fans should be out there, and I think defensively, the Ravens have proven all year long that they can get things done. Offensively, you just got I think after that first quarter, we are going to see some rust. They ain't play in how many other weeks. You are going to see some rust. So I think they just got to stay intact that first quarter. Can't get behind early. Can't get down 10-0, 13-0, 14-0. Because the offense going to wake up. They too talented off the side of the ball. The scheme has been working all year. But I think the Ravens are ready. For what I'm hearing, reading all the reports, I think they're ready. I think they're going to come out ready to go. It's just like I said, at the end of the day, Houston is still a 7-loss team. Regardless of, what they hear now, they plan better, they still are a 7-loss team. Like you are the better team. There's a reason why you're a 9.5 favorite at home. You should win the game. You take care of business, and you got an AFC championship game at home. And that's why you got the number 1 seed. You win this game, you do what you gotta do. You take care of a Houston team that you are better than. You playing at home for the right to go to the Super Bowl. And that's all you can really ask for. So I think the Ravens will win this game. I think after that first drive, second drive, knock off that rust, they're going to turn it up a little bit.
I hope so. You know what I mean? Because I agree with you. You were spitting keys. The only scary part is these were the sentiments that I had going into 2019 versus the Titans. It's an AFC South team coming in with a myriad of losses. You feel like we're clearly the better team. And, any given Saturday or Sunday, those thoughts really don't matter. It depends on who's going to show up for those 60 minutes and who's going to be more prepared, who's going to commit less turnovers, and who's just going to execute more. The difference I see in this team versus the 2019 team is just a more mature team. The failures, the pain, the pressure, that was things that they didn't experience prior to 2019. And ever since 2019, we've had to experience all those things with the failures, the injuries, the feeling like you left meat on the bone, food on the plate. I just think that this year we're more seasoned, we're more hungry, we're more determined, and that's hopefully the team we're going to see come tomorrow. It's not going to be easy, though. C.J. Stroud probably going to be the offensive rookie of the year. You have DeMeco Ryans, who's instilled a winning culture. They're believing. They're flying around the football, even with all the injuries they've been facing. They're explosive on offense. It's going to be challenging. I think the weather will play in our favor a bit. It might take the air out the ball a little bit, discourage both teams really from throwing the football as much. You have freezing temperatures, snow, in those type of instances, you see the run game used more, just more as in a general sense. But we're equipped to win that type of game. We're equipped to run in a shootout too. If you want to air it out, we're equipped to do that. Pick your poison, Houston. It don't matter how you want it, you can get it. I do think the Ravens are going to experience some rust. That was a fear of mine, but at the same token, I think the leaders are locked in. I think the leaders are going to make sure that, whether it's Lamar, whether it's Roquan on the other side, I think they are going to make sure the troops are ready to go and everybody understands the moment. As far as my prediction, I do think the Ravens big. I don't know if they cover a 9.5 spread. I think the over and under is 43.5 points. I'm not sure if we reach that point total, but we possibly can. In the normal playoff setting, I would think this game goes over that. It's just the cold weather kind of discourages me from thinking it's going to be that high scoring of a game. Maybe, 23-17, something like that, I'm thinking. But, Ronnie Stanley's going to have to show up. I think that's going to be a key matchup versus Jonathan Grenard. He would have like 12, 13 sacks this year. He's going to have to do his part, keep Lamar clean. I remember Bill Polian said this week that, the D linemen on the Texans, they shouldn't go after the sack. They should just play QB contain and make sure you keep Lamar in the pocket. And I want to tell any Houston Texans fan that may be watching, please, please, please have your team do that. I would love to see
Bill Polian is still talking out of turn. He's still talking.
Hey, you reach, we teach. If that's what he wants to do, fine. Like Lamar's been throwing from the pocket.
He ain't watched the season. I guess he ain't watched the Dolphin tape.
Hey man, if you don't want to put pressure on Lamar, because the only thing stopping Lamar is injury. The last time we saw Lamar get injured, he got injured on a three-man rush with 6 blockers. Right? Yep. That was the last time versus Denver. We saw him get hurt. If you don't want to see him, if you want to see him carve you up, go ahead and don't try to apply pressure on him. That's going to work right in our hands. And I honestly feel like we have enough, even without Marlon being out, even with Mark Andrews being out. I can't speak enough about Isaiah Likely. I didn't see this out of him this second half of the season, but quiet escape. He went on a tear. That kid went on a tear. So I'm more than comfortable waiting until Mark is 120% healthy before we put him back out on that field, because our offense had chemistry with Likely. Our offense got way more consistent. We started spreading the ball way more with Likely on the field when Lamar didn't have that safety valve. And Likely has performed so well, he's kind of become the safety valve. So I think we'll have more than enough there. And then Brandon Stevens on Nico Collins, that's going to be an interesting matchup. I think Brandon Stevens is up to it. I think the defense is up to it. As long as we get pressure on Stroud, I feel like we'll have an opportunity to limit their explosive team, man. Stroud is he's generational. So we're going to have to touch him. We're going to have to touch him up. But I definitely think the Ravens win. I hope the Ravens win. And, I'm looking forward to continued conversations as we try to go on this journey.
Definitely. You both alluded to CJ Stroud. Let's hear what defensive coordinator Mike McDonald had to say about him this week.
Well, we were really impressed with the first game too. We knew going into the game that, if you remember me talking about it back then, was you didn't feel like you were going against a rookie at that point. So I think you're just seeing the natural progression of over the course of the season, just being more comfortable within the system. You can tell the system's growing around him, and they've evolved as we have as well. So I think that's what you're seeing. But definitely a lot of respect for what they're doing and how he operates.
Yeah, so Keys alluded to the pressures. That's kind of where I was going to go. The Ravens sacked Stroud 5 times and pressured him 27 times in week 1. That was the most pressure CJ Stroud saw all season. So you got to get to him. Like Nick just alluded to, you got to put hands on him. Another stat, on 3 occasions this season, Stroud was pressured at least 20 times. In all 3 of those games, they lost. So that's essentially the key to this game. You have to get to him. You have to make him uncomfortable. You have to give him some looks he hasn't seen. And that's what that is going to be. I've been calling out Mike McDonald the matchups. Hey, you first McVay, first to McDaniels, but now you got a rookie out there. You got to treat him like a rookie in a playoff game. You got to show him some things he's never seen, and that's essentially what I'm looking for. You got to get pressure. The first time since 2006, I'm sorry, that the Ravens had 3 players with over at least 9 sacks. So you getting pressure, you getting it from the interior, you getting it from the outside. So that's the key tomorrow defensively. Can you get pressure?
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm looking for out of all the keys to the game, the receivers, Lamar staying clean, Lamar staying healthy. I'm just looking at Clowney, you earn them incentives, please. Van Noy, keep playing the way you playing. Matabuke, you do for a contract. That bring the blitz. I was watching the film, Arthur Millette, but he was getting home. I think the key here is them slot cornerback blitzes. You run those or whatever. CJ Stroud, like I said, at the beginning of the year, he wasn't picking those up. Lately, they stopped doing it, but I think that's the key. I think that's where his weakness at is reading that blitz. And they don't have Tank Dell. I think that's a big miss for them. I think Tank Dell, as much as Nico Collins was their deep threat, I think Tank Dell was a safety valve. So you said Brandon Stevens. I think he'll be okay with Nico Collins. Nico Collins, he's a good receiver. He's gonna get his numbers. You just gotta expect him to get his numbers. If they're gonna force feed him the ball, he's gonna get his numbers. But where I look at it, you gotta take away the intermediate. You gotta take away the Dalton Schultz. You gotta take away the intermediate. Keep him in 3rd and long. Keep him in 3rd and 6. Keep him in 3rd and 7. Limit the run. The Ravens' run defense ain't been good all year. We know that. But now is the time you got to be better. You got to be better than what you were. But yeah, like I said, I just think the Ravens are better team. It's not a lot of games this year where I came in thinking that the Ravens, weren't the better team. But I just think they are a better team. I think Houston, they deserve to be here. They definitely deserve to be here. But I think they might be a year too early right now.
And you mentioned those wide receivers. It's important to remember that Noah Brown got injured last week too. One of their receivers sustained season. Yeah, but I mean that's somebody they was going to. But over the last 6 to 8 weeks, 40% of that offense from a passing standpoint has been Nico Collins. So if you can zero in on him and contain Dalton Schultz, like he's just alluded to, it looks good.
Yeah, so listen, the Texans have allowed 60 completions of 20 yards or more, which is 7th worst in the NFL. I think we'll have our opportunities to exploit that. I think playoff Odell, John. I think Keith has something on that later, but John has alluded to it. He's probably the most healthiest he is been all season now. So I'm looking forward to that. Okay.
Yeah, let's say Odell at this.
It's been a long 2.5 years. So kind of all boils down to this. You only have 4 or 5 days guaranteed left. Everything else you earn after that. Everything else after that you've earned. And I don't think anybody in this building takes it lightly. Such a long journey, and you get towards the end, it's like you might as well reap the benefits of all the hard work you put in. So we're all fighting for the opportunity to earn the opportunity to be able to practice again for another week. And it starts with beating a very good team in the Houston Texans. They've got everything rolling and clicking. It's not going to be an easy task, but I think this team is up for the challenge. You talk about it.
Yeah, so John in a different video, he kind of alluded to he's rehab for 2 years. He's gone through his challenges this year, but he's looked excellent in practice. He looks really good physically. So I think this is his moment as far as on 3rd downs and key situations when Lamar needs to trust somebody. You're going to have him available. You're going to have Zay. You're going to have Likely, and I think we'll be able to do enough there. Houston's defense, as far as like the coverages and the schemes that they primarily run, they've run a variation of cover 3 or cover 4 on 53% of their snaps, which is 4th highest in the league. Lamar has a 73.5 passer rating versus cover 3, which is average, but he has a league best 92.8 passer rating versus cover 4. So we've seen the Houston Texans defense. They have some good players on that side of the ball, stout front, but those corners can be had. I think that's going to be something to look forward to. And one thing as far as something on the Texans side that we could look to. I mean, they're 7-3 this year versus teams with a winning record, right? So they aren't just going to lay down. And honestly, Stroud plays his best against the better teams. He's averaged in those 10 games, he's averaged over 300 yards passing while throwing 21 touchdowns compared to 2 interceptions. So again, a generational player. What do elite hymns do? They raise their level of play versus better competition. He's in that category. It just sucks that it has to be him. I really like the kid, but if it's him, if it's us, or if it's them, you know who I'm picking, bro.
Yeah, and he's going to see a Lamar Jackson who's very confident going into this matchup.
4 previous playoff games, the offense didn't score more than 20 points. How much more confident do you feel that this year's offense has the ability to put up the points you need to win in the playoffs?
I'm very confident. Very, very confident. Extremely confident. Just keeping my mind focused on the assignment, not letting anything enter my mind, that'll mess up my thoughts for the game and stuff like that. And it's great. It's been great.
Yeah, this team seems a lot more relaxed than the team in 2019, a lot more mature. And you can kind of see it going into this week with the preparation. All hands on deck tomorrow.
One more thing. The Ravens use play action 26% of their plays, which is 7th highest in the league, and the Texans were dead last versus play action.
My last point. My last point is this is the same defense that Amari Cooper just had almost 200 yards receiving, on a couple before he got hurt the last game, but the game before that, in the regular season, he did have 280 something yards receiving against them. So like you said, the secondary, they can be had. They can be took. And I think we finally got the weapons to do it. I'm not, like I said, it's gonna be tough tasks. They're not gonna lay down. It's divisional play. Anything happens to it. It's division round of playoffs, but I'm not really. They should get the job done. They should get the match. Yeah, I'm not overlooking anything.
Boy, I've been stressing, Keys. I've been stressing.
Listen. I feel like if I wasn't, because it's a different level, but I feel like if I wasn't stressing against the Dolphins 49ers, I'm not about to stress against the Texans game at home. It's like they just gotta get the job done. Now, Mahomes or Josh Allen, if they win this coming home next week, then we have a different conversation
next week.
Right, we have a different conversation.
Yeah, for sure, man. So be sure to check that out tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. Texans, Ravens. The Saturday night game, the Packers head to San Francisco. The Packers are same 9.5-point underdogs. Jordan Love and the Packers coming off a pretty outstanding win. Yeah, whopping win on Sunday against the Cowboys. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but
I gotta give me a Jordan Love jersey, man.
Keith, you've been talking about it.
Listen. Let's talk about the Cowboys for a minute. Like that's what we need to talk about, because they didn't show up. That looked awful. It looked terrible, and it's crazy. I think I text Keith and it was like, the Cowboys could be 10-1, 11-0, and people will still say, no, we got to see what they do in the playoffs. Like it's a story for them every year. Like
it don't matter the coach,
it don't
matter the personnel. It don't matter.
But how long was I telling you? I said that schedule was light. I said this schedule in December, when they went through that stretch playing, when they lost to Miami, that's when we should have known. Like the writing was on the wall. That you can't beat Miami.
But it's like it's the same story with them every year. They look like they're not gonna make it. They keep him McCarthy. Dak is only back. He's on the contract. It's the same thing with them every year. But shout out to Jordan Love. Like I said, I've been saying it. He coming into his own. He's been playing very, very well. You can see you can see that he sat behind Aaron Rodgers a couple years. He looked just like him in the pocket. Like he literally his mechanism, his everything. He looked just like him. Arm talent off the roof, out the window, and you got LaFleur. LaFleur is at you. My question coming this year was, how was LaFleur going to be without Aaron Rodgers? What was what was the ceiling for him? And he's shown like he's leading another quarterback to the playoffs. That coaching tree, that coaching tree is crazy. But shout out to the Packers. And I don't know, a lot of course America not picking them, but I'm giving them a good chance to go in and beat the 49ers. I think it's going to be a shootout. And I think it's going to come down to who got the ball last. Now, will the Packers use that momentum to keep it going? I don't know. Like I said, the 49ers, they're going to be, it all depends on how they're going to be, just like we said, the Ravens had to knock on their ruts, the 49ers with the same thing. Christian McCaffrey ain't playing 3 weeks, how that calf going to feel, how that leg going to feel, on first contact. Do I think the Packers are going to win? No, but I do give them a chance. I'm not going to say they're going to go ahead and get blown out. Not the way with Jordan Love playing, not the way they call plays. Like they would, I don't know if it was the Cowboys defense, but these people were running wide open against the Cowboys. Like I ain't never see that in a playoff game like that.
Nah, I want to give Jordan Love his respect. Kind of spoke about it earlier. Like, I kind of want to see it in the biggest moments. And that was a huge moment to be on the road, to be the underdog, to be going against the Cowboys team that many felt could be a contender in the NFC, to do that to them. Like, they pretty much put them over their knee and gave them a good old-fashioned spanking.
From the first possession.
From the first whistle. It's like, Jesus Christ, it was bad.
Took the ball. I was surprised.
It was bad. And I do want to put some respect on the Packers and Jordan Love specifically. Definitely earned his respect. He, it wasn't one thing where he had to be given it. He took it. Like, you don't want to respect me? Cool. I'm gonna go out here and make you a believer. And that's exactly what he did. But saying that, I think the 49ers are a different breed than the Cowboys. The Cowboys, the only thing with them is I felt Dak let them down, yes. But I think that defense was supposed to be the one constant on that team that provided them some stability. That defense didn't show up. The sacks disappeared. The turnovers disappeared. All the things that made them a staple, all the staples that made them a good team earlier in the season, just totally disappeared. They couldn't make a big play. They couldn't stop the bleeding, couldn't get a stop at all. I just don't think the 49ers run into those type of issues. I think they'll be able to force Jordan Love into some punts, because Lord knows he was driving the field every goddamn drive. Right. So I think they'll get him. There's going to be some possessions where they'll force some punts, let their defense get a breather. The defense is talented. I don't think it's going to be a blowout at all. I do think the 49ers will be in the driver's seat, though. It's just going to depend on the factors that Keys mentioned, the rust factor, how the momentum the Packers have received, if that trickles in and if it propels them to greater heights. All of these things are storylines. This is the risk that you take when you sit your starters and you allow a team to get on a roll like the Packers have gotten. Because when you start believing in yourself, once you start getting that confidence, you can really do anything. We saw it with the 2012 Ravens. We weren't the number one seed. We weren't everybody's picks to win the game. We were the underdog in every single game. But what we did have is that belief that we can go anywhere and win a football game. And we've seen it happen. So it wouldn't shock me if the Packers went in there and, with the momentum, with, just winning a playoff game, just being in football mind and zone versus 49ers who are trying to get it back. I could see that, but I wouldn't put my money on it.
Yeah, Aaron Jones healthy too now. That's big for the Packers that he's healthy.
Yeah,
he's healthy and rolling. But yeah, give me I'm definitely taking the 49ers. But I don't think they kill him.
Last week was a bunch of horrible games too. Yeah, I don't think we get that this weekend.
Yeah, it was a bunch. I mean, other than our game, I hope it ain't a bunch of blowouts. I hope we blow them.
Yeah.
Let's get to Sunday afternoon where the Buccaneers and Baker head to Detroit to take on the Lions. Yes, the Lions do play in a dome. The Bucs are 6.5-point underdogs.
Cookie?
It's crazy that we gonna have. I mean, and shout out to the Bucs and Lions, but it's crazy we're gonna have drag off of Baker Mayfield in the NFC. Like that's what I look. That's what I look at this at. Like, this is crazy.
It's the Twilight Zone.
Hey, shout out to the Bucs, man. I mean, you've been talking about the Bucs all year. When me, Keith, Stowe ain't believing them, you was like you've been saying they was a dangerous team. They dangerous team. They started out well this year, then they started playing. They went through that rough stretch, and now they playing with confidence. Baker Mayfield was playing with a lot of confidence. And that offensive coordinator, he needs a head coaching job. That's what he needs. He needs a head coaching job. He should
after him and Geno Smith, after Baker and Geno, hell yeah.
He had a lot of interviews last year, but this is the year where he's gonna get a job. Especially, he proved that with the play call, just like that Packers game, players are running wide open. I don't know if that's the Eagles players quitting or whatever, what type of Pat Patricia calling the plays. We'll talk about that because that was a ridiculous decision to make him defensive coordinator in the middle of the season. But the Bucs are running wide open, and Baker was hitting them. It was time to play. Defense showed up. Shout out to the Bucs. I definitely give them a chance to go in because of that defense. They may be the drag off them down, and the way the Bucs playing. But I like the Lions. I think the Lions is too. Jared Goff play well. They have too much offensively. It's hard to stop them. Besides that Ravens game and maybe another game where Jared Goff struggled, the Lions haven't been slowed down this year, really. They really haven't. So in a home, that crowd gonna show up. That crowd was loud last week against the Rams. They were very, very loud. That's a big factor for them. But yeah, I think this is gonna be a good game. I think this one is gonna be one games also that maybe come down to whoever had the ball last, a shoot 'em out game, because we all know the Lions defense is not that, so they're gonna give up some points. But yeah, give me the Lions at home. Just that crowd. I cannot choose Baker Mayfield on the road in the playoffs. I'm not going to do that.
He said, I ain't doing it.
But like you said with Joel, I'm not gonna be surprised if they win the game. They playing well, and Todd Bowles, he coaching them well. They playing very well. That defense is that Bucks defense playing lights out right now.
Speaking of the Bucks defense and Todd Bowles, under his leadership in 2023, they've only given up 150 team rushing yards on 3 different occasions. That's not easy to do. Their run defense is quite stout. So if you think about if they're able to limit the Lions' run game with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, that play action that Goff relies on, it becomes a little less effective. And if you're asking him just to strictly drop back, that's playing into the Bucks' hands. Yeah. To Key's point, though, I think the Lions just have too much. Like, not only do they know how to get all of their playmakers involved, they do it quite frequently. So you never have to really see Amon-Ra St. Brown not get the ball. Like a CeeDee Lamb didn't get the ball last game in their playoff game. He's going to get his touches, his 10 targets. Pencil that in. Sam Laporta, even on one leg, hobbled as he is, they made sure to get him the ball. David Montgomery and Jahmyr, like, they figure out a way in which we can use both of you and make sure that both of you are getting 15 to 20 touches in the cadence in which you need them. David, we're going to use you up the middle. We're going to use you as our grinder, our bruiser. And don't get me wrong, Jahmyr, we're going to have you run on sweeps. We're going to have you do stretches, zone runs. We're going to use you in the pass game, screens. Especially when we get in that red zone too, you never know what's coming out of the line just because Jahmyr is a weapon in multifacets. And when they get close, you can use David Montgomery as the hammer. And if you play the run, we're doing play action and we're throwing it to Sam Laporta. It gets surgical. And then you have Dan Campbell, who has them believing since day one, since he came into the building talking about biting kneecaps. He's had them revved up and charged up, and it's crazy thinking about the Lions making a NFC championship. But after that Rams win, which was I thought that Rams game was an excellent game, and it sucked that it had to be decided by injury and stuff like that. But both teams, they played a hell of a game, and so I think if the Lions win this game, they definitely deserve to be where they are. And to Keys' point, we talk about how they look versus the Ravens. Don't worry, it ain't an AFC team.
Right.
They good against the NFC. Just don't see us in the Super Bowl. It might get ugly.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna cover McVay, but McVay got same thing, getting that red zone and don't run the ball. I don't get it. I don't understand it. He's been doing it all year. You got the 2-yard line, you throw the ball 3 straight times. I don't understand it. I don't understand.
We'll get to him. Sunday evening, they acting like this the granddaddy of them all. The Chiefs head to Orchard Park. Buffalo, to take on the Bills.
Listen, man,
the Bills are 2.5-point favorites at home. Mahomes versus Allen once again in the playoffs.
They've been waiting for this one, huh? The NFL.
The Ravens do what they gotta do. I'm putting my feet up, getting the popcorn. This is gonna be. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to this.
Definitely
I'm definitely looking forward to this game. Hopefully as much as hopefully it turn out to be a good game. Hopefully we ain't got to deal with nobody getting injured and it become a blowout or something like that. You would think the Bills home, they're gonna win, but I'm not doubting Pat Mahomes, man. I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna sit here and say that he can't go in there and beat them, because he can. He definitely can. And like I said, we've been saying all year, that defense can go out and win them a championship. That Kansas City defense is that good. They've been proving it all year long. I thought they was gonna slow down, but they won't.
They prove it every January.
Yeah, and what the Bills want to do, they want to the Bills they say they run the ball where they want to. The Bills want to sit back and let Josh Allen throw the ball. That's what they want to do to win.
If they really could do what they wanted to do, that's what they would do.
That's what they want to do, and and if they do that, if the Chiefs can spot up that run and they force Josh Allen, that's going to play into Kansas City hands. Kansas City wanted to sit back, throw the ball so they can get pressure with Chris Jones and come up that middle and clog up. I think the key to this game is they got to keep him contained. They let Josh Allen start running wild, 50, 60, and 70 rushing yards, they're gonna lose the game. That's what's going to happen. But, hopefully Travis Kelce decide to show up because he has not. I don't know where he's been. I don't know what's going on. Well, we know what's going on with him.
He's been swifting.
But he has not been the same
Swifting,
Travis
man.
Kelce. I see the retiring reports. Is he retiring? Listen, this is the game where you show up at. I'm gonna pick the Bills. I'm gonna pick Josh Allen at home. I just don't want to have to come on here on Monday and we talk about Josh Allen throwing 2 interceptions or 3 interceptions. I don't want to see that. This play, I want both Mahomes and Josh Allen to play how they supposed to play. Be MVPs, be all pro, first team all pro quarterback, so we can have a good game. But give me Josh Allen, but Pat Mahomes not gonna lay down. He's definitely not gonna lay down.
This is a very, very tough game to pick because one thing I was curious to see is how the Chiefs will come out against the Dolphins. I did believe the Chiefs were going to win strictly because of the weather and the fact that they were home and you're asking Tua to play in the cold. That's just not a good recipe for success for them. But I wanted to see just how effective and efficient the Chiefs were, right? They can win, but you can win ugly. They didn't win ugly. They went in there. They were prepared. All the issues that they were plagued with during the regular season, the drops, the penalties, just looking unprepared, looking like, they're just rattled. All that disappeared. And that's the Mahomes effect. That's the Andy Reid effect. That's, a lot of the vets on the team, just having gone through a championship run once or twice. They understand during these moments, it takes full preparation and full execution, and that's exactly what they got. So going into this game, if you're telling me the Chiefs are going to execute on offense, you're telling me they're going to catch their passes that fall into their hands. If you're telling me, I just saw Mahomes throwing, I think one thing that surprised Miami was how much the Chiefs came out to actually throw the football. In those type of temperatures, the Chiefs were, so to speak, flinging the football. So for me to see that, and to see the belief they still have, even with all the issues they had this year, it just shows you that how dangerous they are, and how that experience can carry over as well. So we're talking about this Chiefs-Bills matchup. It gets hard to pick because on one side you have that, and on the other side with the Bills, you didn't see Josh turn the ball over last week. You saw him play a clean game, and you actually saw him using the best feature of his talent is his running ability. That's what makes him the most dangerous. They've been trying to make him a pocket quarterback, which he can operate in the pocket. He's a great thrower of the football, but he's a gunslinger too, and he gets himself in trouble. But when you start talking about the desperation and how that we watch Lamar every week, we know how running a football can just diversify the offense, not even just running it as far as handing off. I'm talking about when the quarterback uses his legs. It just becomes so hard to defend. You miss one tackle on Josh Allen. He hits that second burner. He's out of here. And that's 250 pounds getting off like that, so it gets tough to really pick that. I do think the Bills are more equipped to win this football game. But it gets hard for me to pick against Mahomes. If I believe in scripts, I think maybe if they're going to allow Allen to ever beat Mahomes, this probably will be the year. Mm-hmm. But it's just get hard to pick against Mahomes in the playoffs unless he playing the Ravens. So I'll probably go with the Chiefs, but at the same time, my heart is conflicted. I really don't have I'm just picking just to pick, but I really don't know who's going to win. I think it's a toss up, and I would be disappointed if it's not like one of those last possession overtime type of games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know one fan base is happy to have this game at home.
No disrespect. What year is this for Pat? 7 or 8? 7? 7, right? He's only been here once? So he's never been here. Simple as that. Pat has never been to the Bills Stadium in full effect. I'm excited because it'll be the environment will be different. And not to say it's in our favor, but stadium is our favor. I don't care what nobody says. This is the most dopest feeling I've ever had. Like we're having 2 back-to-back playoff games home. Like, come on now. Like, we get to leave and go eat wings. Like it's cool. So, good luck.
I guess. I mean, that's bulletin board material for Mahomes. Mahomes gonna eat that up. If they win the game, Mahomes gonna eat that up. you know he is.
He gonna go to the podium with some buffalo wings. I tell you that.
The State Farm commercial is gonna be sick if they win this game. Right?
Buffalo Wild Wings endorsements and all that
Exactly.
shit. But one thing I will say about the Bills fans, you know, you saw just. I remember there was a big deal about the weather or whatnot. I always had the mind state like, yo, do y'all know how Buffalo fans get down? That snow shit, they used to a blizzard. They're never going to let a blizzard.
Snowballs, all types of
bro. Once I saw them start throwing snowballs, once the defender was trying to catch, not the defender. Once the Steelers were trying to catch a touchdown, I'm like, oh, they locked in. They locked in, and I don't care if it's cheating. You know, like if you ain't trying, if you ain't cheating. Hey man, that's what I said too. Don't clear all that snow now. We need some ammo.
Right, exactly.
Nico Collins trying to get off. I got something for him.
Let us throw 1 and 2 tomorrow. So that wraps up divisional weekend. We'll see y'all Monday in that regard. Be sure to subscribe to Nitty Gritty Sports Talk. New episodes air every Tuesday and Saturday.
Yes.
Live on our Nitty Gritty Sports Talk YouTube channel. Let's get right to it.
What happened to that boy? What happened to that boy? What happened to that boy? What happened to that boy?
Keys.
Yeah, I got McDaniel.
Oh shit.
I got McVates. I got the Mac brothers, whoever. McCarthy too. You got him in there too.
You was the man, homie.
My thing about McVay is that he's just stubborn. I feel like they all come from that same tree, and sometimes they just get real stubborn. They get stuck in their ways. So my criticism of McVay is you get down there. Same thing with the Ravens we saw this year. You run the ball the whole drive. You get them inside the 10. You get inside the 5, and you throw it 3 straight times. I understand it. Like I said, that was the game for the Rams. They didn't score. They only scored field goals in the red zone. They didn't score any touchdowns in the red zone. That was the game for them. And that's what it came to. And McDaniel, just in the fourth quarter, you trailing by 2 scores and you still huddle them. I didn't understand it. It was no sense of urgency. The Dolphins really had no sense of urgency the whole game, really. I feel like they knew they were going to lose the game. I feel like they were too cold. They didn't want to play. Because after that Tyreek touchdown, they was in the game. I feel like after that they just laid down. Wasn't no sense of urgency. And we don't got to say too much about Mike McCarthy. We saw what he put on film. We saw what his team put on film. So they just in the playoffs. I feel like you got to change who you are a little bit. Like you can't be too stubborn. You got to make adjustments in the playoffs. And I don't think neither one of them 3 teams made adjustments at all.
It's a fact. Yeah. Sorry, Jalen. Like you, but I gotta get it.
Damn, homie. In high school, you was the man, homie.
Yeah, that's one thing about Jalen too. He always got a Confucius quote after the game or type shit. Nobody want to hear that, man. Like sometimes people want to see the real you, hear the real you. You know, it's not a PR type of deal. It's not a branding type of deal. Like sometimes people just want you to be authentic, but at the same token, it's not to put all this on Jalen Hurts. Because I think the head of the snake is where we should put the most attention. You know, Nick Sirianni, for all his praise last year, those coordinators left, and he wasn't able to keep the team together. You know, they got off to a lightning quick start. And then, you know, it just collapsed all around him. And as a coach, you need to be able to pull your troops together and get them refocused, recalibrated, and get them reignited towards the mission. It's just, you know, he saw them flailing for the last 6-7 games of the regular season, did nothing about it. And come playoff time, they weren't prepared. They didn't look like they had any fight in them. They were missing tackles left and right. It didn't seem like they wanted to win a playoff game. It actually was atrocious. And to have the amount of talent they have, even without AJ Brown, you had enough to go win a football game or at least put up more of a fight. It's just unfortunate. And then now going forward, I just don't know what the next step is, because now you're looking at Jalen Hurts. Has he been figured out? right? There's been a lot of tape on him since last season, and some of the things he did last season, they've taken away and forced him to stay in that pocket. If Bill Polian want to talk about anybody, it should be Jalen and not Lamar.
Right.
And it shouldn't be any of those instances because, we're talking about, Jalen still being a top 10 quarterback at his position just because of his skill set. But at the same token, the book is kind of eyed on Jalen. He's going to have to hit that off season and turn those weaknesses into strengths. Because if you don't, book is out. I remember was it the 49ers that beat the Eagles? Or was it the Cowboys when they said, when Nick Bosa said we figured them out? If you
49ers.
Were they talking about the Eagles or the Cowboys?
They were talking about the Eagles. They were saying we put the tape out on the Eagles. Like
ever since that moment, it's been downhill for the Eagles. Seriously. So the tape is out.
Yeah, and to back to on that to Sirianni, like I don't understand why. What has Matt Patricia done to be appointed a defensive coordinator in the middle of the season? I think that was really the beginning of the end.
Patricia
right there.
got 9 lives, yo.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that, but that was ridiculous because that defense ain't looked the same at all under him.
This nigga's coaching offense, coaching defense, getting head coaching. I don't see how he has lasted this long in the league, getting job after job after job. Because every time he gets a job, something goes wrong.
First round exit. Think they're gonna fire Sirianni?
At this point, no.
Not right now. But if they start, he's on the hot seat. He's a prime candidate. If they get off to a slow start, 2-3, 2-4 type shit, he's out of there next season quickly.
And we talked about it last week. I mean, after that Niners game, they only won one other game, and that was versus the Giants on Christmas Day, and they struggled to win that game. Like that's their only win after that going 10-1.
Right was on the wall with them. But we've been saying all year they haven't looked really good. They was 10-1 and they finished what 11-6, 10-7, something like that. So
it's disgusting.
So we've been saying all year they haven't looked that good. They went to that rough stretch and they just got beat on.
And it makes you look at the NFC East like, the Cowboys and Eagles racked up all those wins, but how many of those wins were against, the Commanders and what's the other team over there?
Giants.
Commanders and the Giants. Like, you get 4 wins apiece from them. It's just like,
I've been saying it all year. A lot of fluff wins, yo. Their schedule was not difficult at all.
Yeah.
At all. Actually, I'm thinking more so Dallas, but that's where I'm going for mine. I got Dallas, yo. Dak Prescott, all of that. I mean, this a Green Bay defense, which people were saying like Dallas should come in and really run it up on them last week, and they came out forcing turnovers, getting pressure.
Yeah, this was ridiculous. That's when I know
that was just bad. When Kyle Shanahan saying he preparing for the Packers and it's only halftime, like that's not a good look. You should have wore the NFC East hat, nigga.
But Shanahan know who LaFleur is. He probably knew LaFleur was gonna go in and beat him all along. He probably knew.
What I tell you last week, I said the coaching gonna be the difference in this game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's ultimately what it was.
Shanahan know who his coach who his coaches are and who is he knew that LaFleur was probably going there and beat them boys. He probably knew that.
And it goes back to what Cam said, right? So rightfully so, Cam been talking his shit. He's like, yo, this is the difference. It's not to say that a game manager is a bad thing, but when all else fails, can you raise your level of play to uplift your team? And it's, when things started going wrong for Dak, that's when the pick sixes came. Mm-hmm. Pressing, and then he gets worse. And it's like if everything got to be right, it's hard for me to give you that credit. It's hard for before this game, people were like when he was walking into the stadium, people were talking about the MVP has arrived. It's like before the game, we're talking MVP. After the game, there's been some conversations. Should we move on from that? Should we move on from Mike? Like they talk about wholesale shit, and it's just funny how that shit works. But as far as Dak Prescott's concerned, how many times do we need to see this in the playoffs before the book is out? Like I don't want to call him James Harden because I feel like James Harden that'd be disrespectful to James Harden. Is he Zach Levine? Like I don't know who he is. He can go get you 28 a game, 26, 27 a game, but I'm playoff time. He ain't winning this series.
Yo, what I tell you a couple years ago, Nick. He LeBron James, yo. Like when it's the fourth, they going get their stats, yo. He gonna get his numbers.
Hey man,
He gonna get his numbers.
I ain't even
Even
gonna
in jump
disrespect
time.
Braun.
Even in jump time, he gonna get his numbers, yo.
Jeez Louise,
It don't
that
matter. He gonna get his numbers, but the NFC East as a whole, they went out sad last weekend. Sad last weekend. The Patriots made a coaching hire Gerard Mayo, another black coach in Boston.
We saw how the last one ended up. You know what I mean?
Shout out to them,
how'd your kids, how'd your wives?
Right.
Had it written in his contract too, so that's pretty dope. I was surprised to hear that part.
That was dope.
Yeah, shout out to them for hiring him, I guess.
Shit, I'll give Meek Mill some credit for this. Like Kraft been hanging out with the rappers and shit, so he's doing right by the brother. I appreciate that. And then Mayo, he showed some personality. I'm behind Mayo. Because he had the balls in a Boston news conference to talk the talk he talked. I'm all for it. He's already getting criticized. I'm like, wow.
What did he say?
He said he sees color. Mm-hmm. They asked him a question. He says, "I see color, and if you don't see color, how can you see racism when it happens?"
Yeah, right.
So these type of topics infuriated the community.
The Boston media media hate that. I knew they was gonna hit that.
Yes,
we done watched a lot of Boston police shows. They hate niggas up there. Moolies, all of that. Like they hate us up there. That's a proven fact.
Listen, man. But I mean, it's a great opportunity for him. He'll be able to have a quarterback of his choosing with the 3rd overall pick. Hopefully he has some time to grow. He's a Patriot, former Patriot player, so he understands the culture. He understands the standard. Obviously, he's probably going to do things his way as opposed to Bill's way. But the fact that he's even getting this opportunity, I appreciate and applaud Robert Kraft, and hopefully Jared can have some success there.
Yeah, a lot of coaching openings still out there right now. Vacancies. I'm sorry. Most notably that Bears offensive coordinator position, which Cliff Kingsbury interviewed for recently. Is that a ploy to get Caleb Williams to Chicago and make him buy in?
He coached him before?
USC.
USC. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. But I think I'm on tape to say I think they should keep Justin Fields. Justin Fields ended the season the right way. He played the right way. So that's that. Like I said, that's a tough decision for the Bears, though. Whichever way they go, that's a tough decision for them. Because
I think the way that Packers game ended, it's over for Fields in Chicago. He played his last snap day.
But
I was on that train too. But
it's not a bad decision. It's not a bad decision
to reset the clock.
Yeah,
can't beat that.
It depends on how the Bears view the board. If there was a position player that they felt could be the number 1 pick, maybe you trade the pick, maybe you trade down, but I'm of the belief that if I'm the Bears, I'm not going to let Caleb Williams' father or Caleb Williams. First of all, nobody with pink painted nails going to tell me I can't pick them.
Right. Not happening.
If I want you to play quarterback and I'm paying you this money, you're going to play quarterback or you're not going to play quarterback for anybody.
DC? Is that what it is?
I mean, if that's what you want to do, but how can you force it?
Yeah,
he ain't Eli Manning.
Yeah,
you ain't a Manning.
Yeah.
You ain't white either, brother.
You ain't got that cloth.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, listen, to Keith's question, I think if you were really interested in Caleb, bringing in your college coordinator who understands you, who has a relationship with you, former NFL coach, that would be the way to kind of mend fences. If I was the Bears decision maker and if I wanted Williams, the first thing I do is saying, who do you want to be a coordinator? Who do you like in the draft? Who do you like in free agency? I'd be giving him all that type of input just so he feels like not only is he a part of the team, he is the team, right? Make him comfortable. Show him that, the things that we used to do in the past, we're not doing no more. This is your team, your era, your organization. Saying that, they definitely have a choice to make because you have Fields there. What can you get for Fields if you want to trade him? Is it worth trading them depending on what you can get? Could you trade down and get some offensive linemen? Could you get, a stud defensive player, a stud corner or something, get another wide receiver? I saw that they were talking about, they've interviewed Greg Roman as well, which kind of stresses me out because if you want Fields to be a better passer, which the running isn't a problem with Fields, bro.
Yeah, it's not.
He can get his 1,000, 1,200 rushing yards. Like, that's not an issue. The issue is seeing the field, becoming a better passer, and developing. If you want that, don't pick Greg Roman. I'm telling you.
Were you surprised they kept the head coach?
I don't think the head coach was necessarily the issue. The defense, which is, I think, his side of the ball, defense been balling.
Yeah,
Especially once they gave him somebody to work with Sweat and whatnot. The defense been doing their part. So, what they did do is fire all the offensive guys. So they starting clean slate there. I think if they can make those decisions correctly, they whatever they do, they working with something at least.
But if you're the head coach, I mean, and he probably don't got no say so or whatever. There's no way that I'm telling them this is my third year with the team that I'm starting over with another rookie quarterback. Absolutely not. Ain't no way. Ain't no way you give me a rookie quarterback here. Who knows what he's going to be?
What if he's Stroud?
You said what?
What if he's Stroud? What if Caleb Williams is CJ Stroud?
Yeah, that's true, but I don't think he is. I mean, that's me though. That's me. That's me. CJ Stroud got the potential to be a goddamn Hall of Fame quarterback the way he played. Like he's like you said, he's he's that pedigree. I don't see that out of Caleb Williams.
And you know what it is? Like when you go back and even when you look at CJ Stroud in college, when he played pro defense, that Georgia defense, he lit them up. Like he did what I see Caleb Williams play a pro defense this year in Notre Dame. Less than average. I mean, in the Pac-12, you should be putting up. USC should go undefeated, essentially, if Caleb Williams your quarterback. But the only problem is their defense is trash. But they should put up 50, 60 points a game with the defenses they face in the Pac-12. I want to see more. I'm curious to see how it evolves to the next level.
I'm interested because he's very talented. He got the arm talent, but I'm really interested to see. Out of all the quarterbacks that came out the last couple of years, I want to see how Caleb Williams, how he develop in the NFL. I really do.
And to
everybody
your point,
want that next Mahomes.
And to your point, everybody wants that next Mahomes, that next Lamar, even the next CJ at this point. But those guys all have size. Lamar 6'3", Stroud 6'3", 6'4", Mahomes, what is he, 6'3"? They talking about Caleb Williams. He's listed at 6'1". They talking about he's more so 6 feet than 6'1". So we're talking about a shorter guy. Yeah, you're talking about a shorter guy, somebody who doesn't have the biggest of stature. I mean, he's 6 feet, 6 feet, 215. He's not a small guy per se, but he's not the Josh Allen 6'5", 250. You know what I mean? It's kind of levels in that situation. So smaller quarterback, didn't have the best season last year. Rumors about is he a good teammate? Then you had the rumors about does he want equity in an NFL football team, trying to push his way out of a franchise already. There's a lot of noise around him, and it's like he better be a guy. If you do move on from Fields, or if you just decide to pick because you don't have to pick Caleb Williams. There's other guys you could pick. Look at last year, Bryce Young. You didn't have to pick Bryce Young. You could have picked CJ. So they got to get whatever they do. They got to get it right. They got to get it right.
Well, it's gonna send them back for years and years and years.
And I mean they got 2 top 10 picks. They picking first right now, and they picking 9th overall. So the Bears in a good position. Any idea what Bill Belichick going to up? Is it going to be Atlanta? Waiting to see if Sirianni get fired from Philly.
I think Bill definitely. But that defense, Bill see that what they got on that. They see Jesse Bates and them down there. Defense, whatever. Like you said, the Falcons are a quarterback. If they get rid of Desmond Ridder ass and get somebody in there, trade for a veteran quarterback, they're going to make the playoffs. Like we saw, the NFC South is not that good. Like
you think he can get to a young team like that?
Yeah, I mean, he got respect. I think so.
He has the respect.
I think he got the respect. I mean, at the end of the day, Bill know football, and Bill want to win. And I think them players down there, they want to win. But
just don't give him personnel control.
Yeah, that you can't do that. You can't. But that GM been cooking though. I mean, that GM, Atlanta GM be cooking. Like they have all the weapons. They just need a quarterback. They really need a quarterback. That's why I mean, we don't know where Justin Fields is going. Where he's.
If I'm Atlanta, I'm giving a good package for Justin.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that with Bill, whatever offensive mind he brings to be the OC, just coaching Justin Fields better, having not to put everything on coaching, but Bill's a common influence. I mean, he's somebody that took a late round draft pick and made him helped, because Tom Brady had a lot of say in that too, but helped make Tom Brady Tom Brady. just that common influence, decision making in games. Bill Belichick is a good decision maker, knows when to call a timeout, knows when to throw a challenge, knows when to play a particular defense. One thing about Bill Belichick that we know, he's always going to take away the thing that you do best. So you already telling me we have an advantage going into the game. All Justin Fields needs to do is feed the ball to Drake London, hand the ball off to Bijan Robinson, RPOs. You know what I mean?
Gonna get more
Kyle
touches with
Pitts.
Bill. Bijan gonna be on that field with Bill. He ain't leaving that field.
He ain't gonna leave that field.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, you're talking about probably they arguably the most talented team in the weakest division in football.
Yeah,
I mean, what I think how Bill, you see what Bill did with McCourty and them at safety. Just imagine what he can do with Jesse Bates.
Like, he'll let Jesse Bates.
Just imagine.
No, Jesse was open last year.
Man.
Jesse nice though. Jesse be eating.
Cincinnati crazy for not paying him. They couldn't with Burrow and Higgins and them coming up, but they crazy for letting Jesse Bates go. That defense ain't never gonna be the same.
And if Atlanta get Justin Fields, I think Bill been wanting a dual threat quarterback. I was thinking the same thing. I think he been wanting one. Like he went and got Cam, but Cam was on the back end of what being a dual threat. Like I think Bill been wanting to get his hands on Lamar.
He loved Lamar.
Wanted Lamar.
Yeah, he been wanting to get his hands on one of them toys. So if you get him in Atlanta with Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Algier, Bijan, you got toys. They got a decent offensive line.
What is Atlanta pick this year? Wherever they pick, it's probably a middle roundish pick. They didn't make the playoffs, but they had enough wins.
They should be like
Atlanta has the 8th pick in the draft.
Oh wow, they got a top 10 pick too. Like that's what I'm saying.
They pick right in front of Chicago. So the top 10 right now: Chicago, Washington, New England, Arizona, Chargers, Giants, Tennessee, Falcons, Bears, Jets.
You can have my second. You can have my second for Justin. It's a high round. It's a high pick in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't getting my first though.
Not a top 10.
Not a top 10 pick. But a high second for Justin Fields, and you talk about the Bears having and maybe you throw in another mid-round pick, a second and a fifth, a second and a fourth, some shit like that. But you talking about mutually beneficial, you know what I mean? You talking about the Bears stockpiling weapons as far as draft capital. You can do anything with that draft capital. You can draft, you can trade, you can do whatever. And then on the flip side, Bill gets his toy. Be interesting.
And he still get that top 10 pick with that trade you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you Atlanta and you picking at 8, like what? It's almost like you got the pick of the litter. Essentially,
you got to get a pass rusher. You gotta get you can go get a pass rusher. They don't need no weapons on the. You can always use actual wide receiver. They can definitely use somebody to be on the opposite side of Drake London and a slot receiver, Kyle Pitts out there. But they can just, at this point, they can just bolster their roster. They in a position where any pick they pick, they're gonna bolster their roster.
They got a good roster. They just needed somebody who wasn't stubborn and somebody who wasn't stuck in their head.
Yeah,
pretty much.
The Raiders finally did right and hired Antonio Pierce full time as their head coach. Kudos to them. He finished out the season great. Seemed like he got the respect of that locker room.
Yeah, they're gonna be
trying to turn that franchise around. They need a quarterback, but
same
I think
thing. They get a quarterback. They're gonna be because he's gonna have that defense ready to play. The Raiders came ready to play every week, ever since he took over. They just gotta get a quarterback, and they're gonna be all right. That's a good pick. That about time I feel like with the Gerard Mayo pick up and Antonio Pierce, these owners starting to do the right thing. Like they people that deserve the jobs. Like they put the time in, they put the work in, and the players responded.
And also, did Josh Jacobs get a new deal this year? I don't remember hearing
I think
that's going to be interesting.
Deal.
Okay, that's going to be. I think he's a free agent. I believe he's a free agent. So Keith mentioned the quarterback. Also, the Josh Jacobs situation is.
Yeah, he signed a 1-year deal at the beginning of this year.
Yeah, so Zamir White, he did show well, and he's a young guy that they were really high on, as far as potentially being Josh Jacobs' replacement down the line. But now we're here. Down the line is we're here now. So what do? Do you pay him or do you go with the younger guy? We'll find out where their head is at, but definitely got to get a quarterback up in there. I think O'Connell he played decently, but the ceiling is not going to be there.
And they picked 13th in the draft, so the question then becomes: you have to go find somebody in free agency again, or because picking 13th, you ain't going to get the top quarterbacks at that point.
Do they sign Mason Rudolph?
Yeah, Mason Rudolph, something like that. Where's our resident Steeler?
Oh Lord.
Mason was throwing that bitch up in Buffalo though. He was tossing that motherfucker. I
Hey, he was trying. He was trying. Hey, they scored what, 2 offensive touchdowns?
Mm-hmm. I think that game. I mean,
more than Kenny.
The Bills were still going to win that game regardless. But once Pickens fumbled that ball, that game was over with. Once the Bills went up 14-0, they wasn't coming back from that. And now I feel like they had a good offensive plan. They was throwing it. They ain't run it too much. They was throwing that joint. They was definitely throwing it. But yeah, they I wish I ain't make the playoffs. Them bum ass niggas.
Any NBA news before we get out of here?
NBA news. What's been going on in the association?
About the Pascal trade.
Oh yeah. Siakam to Indiana.
Yeah.
It just shows Tyler is his respect level across the league is high. Because Siakam sought him, right? Sought the Pacers. And quiet as kept, Pacers got a winning record, 7 games over 500. They just got a defensive guy, two-way guy. Rick Carlisle values those type of players. Miles Turner is a stretch 3.
Miles Turner too.
Yeah, he's a stretch 5. So, space the floor, give Siakam driving lanes. It'll be interesting. We'll see. I mean, they got some athletic, bouncy players on that squad, and the East is weak. So we'll see how that goes. I've really been paying attention to the Sixers. Embiid has been going the fuck off. Maxi's been going off. And it's going to be really interesting at the top of that Eastern Conference. I think the Eastern Conference is wide open. I mean, Boston clearly is probably right now is the best team in the NBA, but they could be had. Nobody's that dominant. And I think Philadelphia, the way they've been playing, man, we got to see it in the playoffs. Right. But
hell yeah,
they got the right approach this year.
Nick Nurse,
yeah, he's making a big difference. He definitely is making a big difference.
Wanted to say RIP to the Brooklyn Nets. I've been loving shitting on them and their fan base. Their fan base is cool, but
not KD 2.0.
It got to a point where some of the rhetoric was getting ridiculous. Like, the issue clearly is Joe Tsai. But they wanted to blame the superstars. Cool, ain't no problem. This is what you want. This is what you want, right? Like losing to the Trailblazers twice in a week is what you want. You got it.
Right.
Hey, wait for Ben Simmons to come save you. Niggas gonna be waiting their whole life.
That's crazy.
But other than that, man, I mean, let's see, the Clippers been going the hell off, man. They're a problem. Lakers talking about DeJounte Murray. I think that fills a need. The Lakers,
but they would trade D'Angelo then, right, for him.
Yeah, so I think the main thing, their issue's been pace. They when they pick up their pace, they're just a better team. D'Lo, he's a walk the ball up the floor, half court type of player. He's not going to allow for easy transition buckets, and you want easy transition buckets with this old of a team. Now, mind you, you're asking old folks to run. I get it, but also, asking them to get everything out of a half court set. Sometimes you need some easy buckets, bro. Some easy 3-point looks, some layups, some dunks, and somebody like DeJounte, he's going to turn the pace up. He's going to get out in transition. That's going to be good for them. And also he's going to provide a perimeter defense that's sorely needed. Is it going to be enough though?
I mean, not with a top heavy, like regardless of, I don't think DeAndre Murray, you're still not going to beat Denver. You're probably not going to beat the Clippers. Unless AD and LeBron just turn into, AD and LeBron in 5-10 years ago, you're just not going to beat them top teams. You're not going to beat the Timberwolves. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, got to mention the Timberwolves. I mean, shit, 30-11. Anthony Edwards throwing shit off the backboard. You got Cat being aggressive, acting like he's a black man. I trust. Listen, Minnesota is hooping right now. I got to give them the credit because and then we mentioned Rudy Gobert too. Finally get understanding what his role is, and being elite in that role. So
and Conley been instead of enforced. Like they got a point guard there that can settle everything down. A veteran point guard.
That's a fact. And then you got to look at Oklahoma City too, who 28 and 13. They're no slouches. I mean, their top 3 players. You know, I mean, you talking about Jalen Williams, you talking about Shea, you talking about Chet, dogs, certified dogs, studs, and then you got the pieces around them. You got the rapist, you got Dort, you know, Kenrich Williams.
Yeah. They're the 2 seed in the West right now.
They got some hitters, man, and they only getting better. That's the scary part. They only
think
they didn't even make a trade yet.
You think they? You know what I'm saying, I was saying stuff about they might package something or send something for Lloyd marketing, whatever. I heard that's what the rumor for me. Like that's where they've been, like a draft pick and because they got hella picks.
Yo,
so
him next to Chet.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. I think Lloyd Marketing will fit good because Lloyd Marketing don't need the ball. He can just
that's gonna be a scary young team. Yeah,
so
they got young legs too.
But I think Oklahoma City, I think we gonna see this is the first time where they're gonna make a move that benefits them and not trading out their pieces or trying to get back draft picks.
So
like
that's why he stockpiled them.
They got 15,000 draft picks, and they got young players that don't even get time that, you know, I'm sure other teams value. You know what I mean? Like I can't play them in my rotation, but they'd be of value to you. I mean, the West is just loaded. I'm just looking at it right now, man. You know,
are the Warriors done?
It's a great question. It's a great question. And
put a fork in it.
I don't see who you move out. I think everybody that you potentially want to move out doesn't have the value they once had. So what you be getting back, it just is not going to be that instrumental. You know, you talking about dangling Clay, talking about dangling Draymond. It's like if Draymond's not on the right team, what is Draymond? And then you looking at Clay, it's like he don't even look like he's confident anymore. Right, like he's soaking and, you know, head down type shit, and mind you, Clay is very prideful, so I get it. I get where it's coming from, but milk's gone bad. Definitely.
Definitely,
I think so.
Well, I think that wraps everything up for this episode. Nitty Gritty Sports Talk. You know, divisional weekend. You know, Ravens tomorrow, 4:30. Versus the Texans.
Listen, man. Here we go. Listen, here we go.
It's time now. Like we here now. So
we less than 24 hours away at this point.
Yeah, man. This is what we've been waiting for. This is what we've been trying to get back since 2019. We've been trying to get back to this moment where we had home field, home playoff game, healthy team. You know, we got to capitalize. That's all.
Yeah, it's time. So we'll see y'all Monday, same place. Nitty Gritty Sports Talk. We out.